I would like to ask our Vice President, Social, Haley Bishop, to come to the podium.
Well, hello, everybody. I know that Sandra would be too humble to mention this, but it's great to be in attendance at another event where we are sold out, so congratulations to you and your team. Just wanted, on behalf of the President and the Executive Committee, to welcome everybody officially to our 25th anniversary event. We are celebrating both the milestone of Site Canada, 25 years, and Site Global's 40th anniversary. So it's a very exciting year for Site around the world. In attendance this evening, we have those who have been members, founding members, past, present, and future. So it's really great to have everybody here and have all this energy in the room. In speaking about our 40th global anniversary, in 1973, which was a little before my time, a group of like-minded individuals assembled in New York City, and they shared the vision to create a not-for-profit organization that was dedicated solely to the niche market of incentive travel. And at that time, it was very niche market, so it was great to have an association that kind of pioneered this. Today, as we celebrate the 40th anniversary of Site Global, the membership has grown to an astronomical 2,000 members in over 65 countries in the world. Our profession has developed, and it includes certification programs, university-level instruction, awards programs, self-funded research programs through its own foundation, and of course meaningful corporate social responsibility programs. So it's clear that in this room we're motivated and we motivate others. So congratulations to all involved. To bring it back to Site Canada specifically, around 25 years ago, a group of Canadians led by Don Brommet, with whom I've had the pleasure of dining. Thank you, Don. He founded our very own Site Canada chapter, and our chapter accomplishments are many. In the past decade alone, it seems that many accolades have come into our hands through great work, effort, and just passion from all those involved. We've won 4 Site Global Excellence Awards, 3 in membership, and 1 wild card. On top of that, we have won Chapter of the Year, not once, but twice. And in our 25th year, we currently hold that title. As we all know, it takes a very strong visionary board and members, along with all of the volunteers who are actively involved in these programs. And there's certainly no doubt that our board and committed volunteers are those who are making this happen. And we could not do any of this without the amazing management of Fletcher Wright and Associates. So thank you, Leslie and Jason. They are absolutely the backbone behind what we do, and they do many things behind the scenes, but they are absolutely and incredibly involved in that initiative. So your chapter, as we hope you know, has shown a lot of leadership in the global community. One of the up-and-coming components, which is fitting because it is our future leaders, is the Site Canada Young Leaders Program. We have exciting things to come in 2014. And we have also implemented multiple scholarship programs, produced a top quality newsletter, and many successful industry leading events throughout the year. So of course there are the chapter meetings at which we're in attendance right now, the summer social, the always successful golf tournament, and we're all very excited for the upcoming Education Day. So this is something that we always strive to attain at an incentive caliber level, and I think having been a guest at many of these events, it seems that that is not only achieved but exceeded. This year, for those who were at the Summer Social and in the ensuing marketing material, you may have noticed that there's a very exciting initiative called Gain Insight. We have launched this loyalty program, which is designed to promote members thinking of each other first within the Site community. The idea is that we think Site, we buy Site, and we gain insight. And it is something where we can help one another connect, grow, and lead within the membership. So it is something where within this room we have all the resources that we need, and it's a small but very impactful community. Now, in terms of those who have helped form and continue the momentum of Site Canada, we would like to recognize the past presidents who are in attendance today. The list is vast. We have amazing people who have helped over the 25 years grow and nurture site. Today, we have our founding member, Don Brommet. And if I could ask, please, for everybody who's in this room to just stand and be recognized. You have great commitment to Site Canada. So we have Don Brommet, who is a founding member. In 1996, Paul Marchildon. In 1997, Morag Donald. 1999, Susan Radojevic. 2003 and 2007, Marcia Jones. Maria de Cunha in 2005 and 2006. Susan Prophet for 2009. And Joe Arecchio in 2011. So without further ado, I would like to introduce the first of 3 Site Canada presidents, and very fittingly our founding member, Don Brommet, who was instrumental in formulating this chapter that we now are a part of. Don, please come to the podium.
Thanks, Haley. I can't see out there with the light, but I understand we have a fairly big crowd tonight, and it's nice to see some of the faces that I remember and many that I don't. I see that date up on the screen for the 40th anniversary of Site International in 1973, and it reminds me that I started my business in that niche space when I think I was about 15, I think, at the time. But it was a fortunate timing for me, because there was a need in the marketplace for people to understand what incentive travel was all about. And I'm not going to bore you with the detail of my background. You can go and look on LinkedIn. That's what it's for, and it would truly date me. But why did we create this thing called Site? And that is that because of that time in the evolution of this industry, there was group travel. There were a few niche players who were actually applying the concept of human motivation, human behavior as it relates to incentives and rewards, but very few. And so I decided, coming out of the hotel industry, that there was an opportunity to leverage that. And at the same time, what happened is that clients started to look for more than just travel, even though it was the most exciting component of that element, but also what alternative strategies were available. So we looked at trinkets and trash, and at that time it was trinkets and trash and paper-based catalogs and fulfillment, but also the area of communications, right, and creative. So the full service incentive house was born, and in addition to the specialists. And as this occurred, people around the world started to look for a way to connect, a way to communicate, because don't forget there were no Blackberries and no internet back then. And so MPI Site filled that need. All right. And there are only a few hundred members around the world. I think at the time that I put my hand up, started lobbying the international organization of which I was a part, I think we had 10 members, and I kind of went, ooh, can we have our own chapter? All right, so we went about that process. It took a little while to build up the membership, to hold our own elections, and Duff was appropriately elected, and I moved on with other things and still stayed associated with the organization, but in a different role. So many new leaders, some of which are in the room tonight, have taken Canada to heights that I would never have believed, all right, and it's incredible. So my congratulations to all of them, and sorry I get choked up with it, but a special shout out to Moira Hearn. So. Interesting, when I go back to my archives and I look back to 1984, some clippings that I had, there was an announcement of the very first incentive travel and meeting show in New York, right? And it was actually jointly sponsored by Site and MPI. right? Which is very interesting. I remember that hot summer, but a great show. Now, most people that know me is I'm kind of a low-key guy. I don't brag, but I'm proud to brag about the fact that my company won more site awards than any other Canadian company. I think it was 9. Also, I'm very proud of the fact that we raised a family, and I call it a family because that's how we work together, of people who today are either part of or even in some cases lead some of the top organizations in our industry, and they're still in the business today. But why did I have that success? And I look at back then, I go back and I say, you know what, site was a real core part of my success. Why? Because it gave me an opportunity to learn, gave me an opportunity to connect, right? And it gave me an opportunity to be part of a growing and burgeoning industry. So for people who are not part of site today, if you're in the audience, or people who are new to site, right, take advantage of the knowledge, take advantage of the contacts, right? It's probably the best investment you'll ever make, right, for an incredible return, and get involved. Right. Recently I was asked what I thought was new or trending in this industry, and I looked and I said, you know what, actually nothing. Right? And they said, you got to be kidding. All the change? I said, no, you know, those are things, those are circumstances, economic, geographical, whatever, things that have changed around us, right? So we've got new destinations opening, some of them closing down. We've got terrorist issues, we've got social media, we've got technology, right? We've got Gen Y and millenniums to deal with. But when you really think about it, the fundamentals haven't changed, right? And it's really about changing people's behavior to drive results. Right? And it's about educating, motivating, and rewarding those people, right? And it's about people, right, providing other people with exceptional experiences, right? So that's really what we do. So if anything, 25 years from now, I hope I'll be here. I'll probably need the chair with the wheels on it, but that we can all look back and say what a great opportunity we all had, right? What great friends we've made, right? What great relationships and what knowledge we've had, and that all the other changes that will come about in technology, transportation, and so on, are simply enablers, right? And that what site is really all about, right, is bringing like-minded people together, right? And I thank site for that. Thank you.
Okay, and our next past president, whom we'd like to welcome to the podium, was in site during the 90s, Paul Marchildon.
I actually think I started in the tail end of 1989. I got to tell you, the reasons why I always suggest that people join an association, one is to make a new friend, and two is to steal a great idea. And you'll serve yourself well by doing that. With site, 1989, I was a corporate sales manager for Club Med. I was young. That was 25 years ago, my God. I met this guy named Duff Shaw, and we should definitely, he's not here, but we should be giving a big round of applause for Duff. I looked up to, we're blessed with mentors in this organization, guys like Don Brommet, and then I look at this fabulous list of presidents, past presidents. My God, we have a lot of talent in Canada. And I met Duff, I got up to this Horseshoe Valley Resort, and they used to, I don't know if they still do, they have these half-day workshops, and we did a case study, and we had so much fun. I learned so much about meetings and incentives, and I thought I got to join this, or at least I got to compel my boss to pony up the $500 or whatever it was back then. And they did, and I had a good run. And Don made some great comments. I mean, one of the things you do is, it's great to be a member, but if you really want to get a return on your investment, is to get involved. And that I did. Duff got me on a committee. Next thing you know, I'm doing social, and then I was a treasurer, and eventually, actually, Fair Gordon got reassigned, and so I got all of a sudden put in the president's seat, and then I ran for the next year, and I did that too, and it was good fun. We had some good times back then, if you can believe it. During my tenure, we started the site summer social, and I don't know if anybody was there, but it was at the Balmy Beach Club back in the day. Susan, you were there. And you know what? It was a much smaller project than what you see now, but it was the beginning, and we did raise a lot of money, and we needed money because we weren't getting much of the membership fees. Most of it was going to New York, and we had to hold our own. And that type of thing, the people that we passed the torch to took that thing into what it is today is a remarkable event. I mean, I really enjoyed it at the Liberty Grand this summer. And so I think I say, you know, make some new friends, steal some ideas. This Insight program I heard launched it sounds phenomenal. I haven't really taken a good look at it, but I would suggest that we all should, because I think, you know, if I were to look back at the things that I got out of Sight, one, doing my CITE was a phenomenal experience. It was tough, it was a lot of work, but I got a lot of recognition from that, and I got a lot of comments on my thesis. And then two, the ethics committee. It's not something that people talk about a lot, but let me tell you, it's nice to know that you belong to an association that holds ethics and business in the highest regard. And over a cocktail sometime, I'll tell you a story on how I had to have a chat with somebody in New York about somebody in our industry that wasn't holding up you know, the ethics component of their commitment to Sight. And that person's no longer a member of Sight. And that was a good choice. And it's nice to know that you're dealing with people you can trust, that are honorable, and that hold Sight to the level it should be. The other thing I always loved about Sight, and I love MPI, I think it's a fantastic organization. I love the size of the Sight membership and the caliber of the Sight membership. You're always surrounded by people of the highest caliber, so a little bit more senior, experienced people, and there's a real virtue to that as well. So I applaud Sight Canada in their 25 years. I had a fabulous experience and grew tremendously with them, and I would have to say that I put a lot of my success back to what I've learned through guys like Doane and Duff Shaw and Maura Hearn and Tommy Lloyd, a whole bunch of people. So thank you very much for letting me be part of this celebration.
And just a little anecdote, Paul. The Summer Social was a love of mine, shall we say, for the last 2 years, so thank you. There are many committee members in the room, so thank you for starting that. And now, last but certainly not least, we'd like to welcome Susan Prophet for her remarks.
My little speech. No, just joking. Oh, we'll be here forever. No. Thank you so much for providing me the opportunity to share in the fantastic memories of serving as your 2009 chapter president. I first want to congratulate Sight Canada for achieving the Chapter of the Year in 2013. Not an easy task to submit these documents, because that's pretty much what it looks like. We know from past experiences. It is so fantastic to see the chapter win once again, so congratulations on the 2013. So proud. Our vision in 2009 was to steer our ship in the right direction. I don't know if the picture's up there yet, but if some of you remember our very first board meeting, we all wore captain's hats. Ahoy, captains, let us set sail. I wanted to recognize the amazing board members of 2009, as I know many are still involved and have given so much to this chapter. So Kathy O'Connor, Rachel Streak Buma, Joe Recchio, Liz Akey, Michael Drake, Sandra Eagle, Joanne Keating, Susan Lance, Leslie Bowden, and our much missed and beloved Philip Nepomuceno. Thank you so much, all your dedication to the members over the years. In 2009, our three premier visions and goals were to lay out a strategic plan, a 3-year plan, and the captains of the ship were to build this plan and set it to sail with a clear vision for the chapter's goals. And I understand that the strategic plan was redeveloped again this past year, so congratulations. We implemented the volunteer chapter program, and we were engaging members and attracting new members, and it's so wonderful to see the program still going strong. We also dedicated a vision to enhancing our resources through offering more educational tools via communications such as our website, newsletter, and programming, and incorporate the new branding which the chapter has done so well thanks to the volunteers that work so hard on our behalf. It was a very exciting year, and due to the commitment of the board the volunteers, and of course, the beloved Fletcher Wright Secretariat, we were able to achieve grand things. It was a year that the first annual site golf tournament was born and still thrives with all the hard work of the many volunteers. So bravo to all of those involved. Talked about the strat plan and the active volunteer base, and the new and enhanced newsletter and websites were in the works. We began the process of the bylaws revamping with such great input from veteran members like Morag Donald and our dearly missed Maura Hearn. And as anything, it sometimes takes years to evolve and complete. So congrats to those who stayed the course and achieved that onerous task. We submitted and won the Chapter of the Year in 2009, and what more could you ask? And here they go again, so congratulations, everybody. Thank you for the memories to all my fellow members. I will cherish them forever. I've enjoyed meeting and making friends from all over and appreciate from the bottom of my heart the chance to have served with so many of you here in the site community, and see you in the next 25 years.
Well, I'm feeling very warm and fuzzy after that. I love that little prop. Thank you, all three of you, not only for your commitment to site over the years, but for taking the time today to share your experiences and provide new experiences for us all. On behalf of the executive and Pam Graham in absentia, we would like to thank everybody who makes these meetings possible. First, Sandra Eagle, our Director of Chapter Meetings. You work along with your committee tirelessly to source and organize all the chapter meetings. I have no idea how you do this many to this level over so many years, but you've done a phenomenal job, so thank you for giving us all these events to attend. And I would like to also thank, again, our generous event sponsors without whom this could not be possible. So thank you to 24 Degrees. And year-round, our strategic partners help to make all of our initiatives come together. We wouldn't be seen or heard tonight if it weren't for AV Canada. The Image Commission, you can see Flavia is hard at work capturing all the moments tonight. Our good friends at Ignite Magazine, who are reporting on top-level initiatives. And I think potentially Sandra somehow balances her full-time job as a chapter meetings director and her role at Ignite. Meetings and Incentive Travel Magazine, another top publication for our industry. And Porter, who has been very generous in furnishing numerous flights and prizes that help to support our charity and initiatives within site. All of our sponsors, strategic partners, and volunteers are critical to the continuing success of a not-for-profit organization such as Site Canada. We really hope that our new Gain Insight initiative will help to grow and evolve in partnership among our membership. So thank you, everybody. And now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. It's a very important milestone in our history. While we reflect on all the past successes that we've had over the last 25 years, we also want to take this moment to look ahead to the future, and that is why we've asked Jeff Doane to be our speaker today. In his current role, based in Toronto, Jeff oversees all the aspects of sales, marketing, and revenue management, including strategy development and plan execution for the 45 Fairmont Raffles Hotels International properties in the Americas. Jeff joined the corporate office team as Vice President of Sales in Fairmont in November 2006. Prior to that time, Jeff was the Regional Director of Sales and Marketing, overseeing all sales, marketing, and revenue management operations for the California region. He has a wealth of knowledge knowledge of our industry's past, combined with recently conducted in-depth research, so that he can project what our combined future might look like. He has the added benefit of having lived and worked in Canada for over 5 years, while working for an international company that is near and dear to all of our Canadian hearts. Please join me in welcoming Jeff Doane, Vice President, Sales and Marketing, Americas for the Fairmont Raffles Hotels International.
Thank you, Haley. Haley, you should know that when you said 1973 was before your time, half the room gasped. One thing that came out as a American, a transplanted American in Canada, I do find that I'm in a position to have to apologize a lot. So I wanted to get that out in the beginning. I apologize for the Bush years. I apologize for Anthony Weiner and his escapades. And I'm very, very sorry for Miley Cyrus and her escapades and the twerking. I personally don't twerk, and I don't know a lot of Americans who do, but I am sorry for that. And one other thing, as we get into the presentation I have to make, I'm in an enviable position right now. I am the last speaker after everyone's eaten and had a little bit of dessert, and I'm pretty sure a drink or two, and I'm standing between you and the door. So I apologize for that as well. And my presentation, now thinking about it, might be a bit dry. So I'm going to try and make it fast, and I'm going to try and make it interesting, so I'll do my best. One of the things, when Pam called me and asked me to speak at this meeting, she drew a parallel or a synergy between what the Fairmont brand has been going through for the last few years and what the site organization has been going through for the last few years, which is growing and growing internationally. And what they've had to do and what we've had to do is stop for a second and think, do the things that we stand for, the things we represent, the things that we say about ourselves, do they still resonate not only with our current guests, but with the people that we're trying to target in the future? And what was interesting about the call from Pam was we were going through that exact process at this time. And so as I take you through this presentation, what I was thinking about was, well, this is what we've been going through, and as a global organization, site has to be thinking about those things as well. And hopefully as site members, either with respect to the organization or with respect to your individual companies, this might be something that would be helpful in terms of how you think about when you're growing and when you're looking at your target audience or your target market, how do you think about what resonates with them? So that's the intent, and as I go through it, I'll try to draw parallels between the two. So I started with this quote from Sir Richard Branson, one of the great marketers of our time. And two things about this quote that resonate with me is this idea of reinvention. And stopping and thinking about where you are in the moment in terms of what your brand is communicating to your target audience, and whether or not that continues to be relevant and continues to resonate with them is something that we've had to go through. And then the second thing was striking a chord that is emotional to them, or striking a chord that is meaningful to them is important. And what we've had to do as a Canadian company that's grown in North America and now growing overseas, we have to ask ourselves, do the things that we say about ourselves, do they still strike an emotional chord? And do they strike an emotional chord with that core group of customers or guests that we're focused on today? And do they strike a similar chord with the people that we're focused on in the future? And this is particularly a complex idea when you're thinking about growing in China, growing in the Middle East, growing in emerging countries in Eastern Europe, which is where all of our growth has occurred over the last few years. So our current positioning. And this is when we came together, and so I'm not sure if everybody knows the history, but the Canadian company, Canadian Pacific, came down into the United States and bought Princess Hotels and bought Fairmont Hotels. And they bought these two little hotel companies because they felt as if, initially they bought Princess, because they felt like that was a brand name that they could grow with. And then they had second thoughts about that. And so then they bought Fairmont, and they said, this is a brand name that we can grow with. We can grow both domestically and internationally. So after those three companies came together and the dust had settled, they came up with this brand positioning. And our mission has always been, since the beginning, turning moments into memories for our guests. And that has been our mission, and the pillars that support that mission is this idea of being authentically local, having unrivaled presence, if you think about the iconic nature of our hotels and where they're located in city centers and in resort destinations, and then having engaging service. And engaging service to us was not defined just as great service, but service that was personalized, that was meaningful to the guest. Another way that we described it was, we didn't look up to our guests, we don't look down to our guests, we look eye to eye, we listen, and then we try to satisfy their needs. So those were our brand pillars that if we leverage those correctly, that would turn into turning moments into memories for your guests. So last year, we stopped and we said, okay, things have changed for us on a number of different fronts. And there probably is a need for us to step back and take a review. And there are three sort of big themes that led to us thinking that this was probably necessary. The first was that, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that we are a North American company that was turning into a global company, that was growing overseas and growing in markets that we weren't really truthfully all that familiar with. And this is a great depiction of what that growth looks like. If you look at this, and you have to look very carefully, there are, and I can't read the writing down there, but I think that there are something like 42 or 43 hotels in North America. Sorry, what? 45. 45 hotels in North America, even bigger than I thought. And I don't know if you look over there, but there's one dot in Dubai. Do you see that one dot? All right, that was our first hotel outside of North America. And one of our shareholders, one of our stakeholders, took a chance on us and built a Fairmont in Dubai. And it was really one of the truly new luxury hotels in Dubai. And it became, lucky for us, a bit of a landmark. But it was our stake in the ground outside of North America. Now, when you have one hotel outside of North America, you don't have to think too much about whether your brand resonates with your target guest. But as you grow, now, this is us in the future. As you grow, where you have 69 hotels in 17 countries, going on 80 hotels in 22 countries in the near future, then it becomes a much bigger topic that you need to address. So this is one area that we felt led to us thinking we needed to step back and take a review. The other was that we had this idea that our mission was turning moments into memories for our guests. Well, in 2005, there were only two companies that were sort of playing in that memory space, as we call it. And it was Fairmont and Intercontinental. And Fairmont had, we felt, owned it and had turned it into a point of differentiation for our brand. Intercontinental was speaking to it, but they were also growing at the same time and going through a number of different changes, so it was a little bit more difficult for them. But today, this space is highly occupied, and you have a number of different brands that are encroaching on what we thought was space that we owned. And so you look at this language, which is Waldorf Astoria's positioning statement, and you can see that they're saying, you know, this personalized Waldorf Astoria service is going to lead to unforgettable moments, which is very much like what we were sort of saying about ourselves. And I could read you J.W. Marriott's positioning, and I could read to you Intercons and ours, and even Hyatt and a number of other different companies, different brands are using very similar language to try and occupy a space that we felt was only meaningful to us. And then finally, in 2005, as I sort of alluded to, it was meaningful, it was differentiating for us. But today, it's not. And we've done a considerable amount of research to lead us to that conclusion. Don't expect you to really sort of read these graphs, except to understand that the white line is Fairmont, and along the bottom are all these different attributes, that if you were really great at those attributes, you could own that space. And you can see that we're just sort of mixed in with everyone else in the luxury set in North America, and what's the upper upscale set in North America, and in Europe for both. And when we did our research overseas in Asia and the Middle East, it was the same thing. So what this research was telling us was we didn't own the space. As a matter of fact, people didn't feel like anyone owned the space. And you can see that in the beginning, Fairmont had that gap. Now what this chart shows is your average rate along the vertical axis and the number of rooms you have along the horizontal. And this is a mathematical view of things. It's not our take on it. And that space that we own led to Fairmont able to garner a higher average rate than and that's ultimately, obviously, when you're thinking about branding, ultimately you want it to resonate with people so that they engage with it, they think you're worth more, and they'll pay a bit more. But now look at all these hotel companies that have kind of crowded around where we were and created no space between the upper upscale set and that gap between us and the luxury set. So we felt like this was another reason why we needed to reevaluate where we were. So we went through a journey of exploration. The first thing that we did was we met with a number of experts in neurology and psychology, memory experts, people that studied it, studied the idea of memories for a living. And we asked them a series of questions to try and get to, can we actually own this space? And if we can, is it meaningful? Does it resonate with people, particularly at the luxury end of the market in the hotel business? And then secondly, if we can you give us some insight how we might be able to do that? And with that, would that make a difference? And what they came back to us and said was, yeah, you know what? There's legitimacy with this. You could own this space. This could be meaningful to you. That not only should we think about turning moments into memories for our guests, but we should be thinking about semantic memories. And semantic memories is more about how you feel over time. If you have a similar experience, and the only way I can think about it is when I go home to my parents' house for Christmas, nothing has to happen, and I have that feeling of comfort, right? And it's because you're going back to a place that's memorable to you, that has fond memories to you. So the trick for us, for any brand, is how do I replicate that? Not just when I go back to the Royal York, but if I go to the Hotel Vancouver, does it feel the same to me? Does it feel like that sense of coming home? And then finally, they said something very interesting to us. Our mission was, we've got to turn moments into memories for our guests. And what they said to us was, no, you don't. People make their own memories. When people talk about their memories, it's always from the first person. People say, I remember when even if it's when they saw something happen, they say, when I saw that happen, here was my take on it, here's what I was doing, here's what I was thinking. And then what you have to do is provide the landscape or the setting for them to have great memories, but then it's up to them to have memories. And so that's an interesting take, because we've been telling all our employees for years, go out and make memories. And I'm sure they were thinking, geez, I don't really know what to do with that. So this became a little bit clearer for us. And it also is very clear when you're thinking about the difference between episodic memories. Episodic memories meaning you could do something special for somebody, you could constantly be trying to do that, or you could set the landscape for them to have their own experiences. And then if we do that well, then this idea of memories fits into the overall setting of what people think about themselves. So then we did a bunch of consumer research. Now I'm going to race through slides, because this is when it gets really boring. And we looked at their insights, and we looked at what makes memories for them. And they said to us that they define themselves by their travel experiences, that when their travel experiences, they come back with stories about them that make them meaningful to their friends, their family, to people that are important to them. They said to us that they seek these different experiences, unique experiences, real experiences, genuine ones, and it helps them define who they are, and it changes their perspective on the world. They want real experiences, as I just said. They want them to be authentic. They don't want contrived experiences. They don't want them to be controlled. They want to, when you go to Dubai, using an example from tonight, they want to eat at the restaurant that people in Dubai want to eat at, not the hotel restaurant, unless the hotel restaurant is the one where the locals want to go. They love history, which plays into our wheelhouse because we tend to have historic hotels. But even where we don't, bring the history of the destination into your hotel room, into your hotel. And that helps them feel as if your hotel is of the market. and they want to be inspired by their hotel. They want it to be a higher level of experience than what they experience in their day-to-day lives. And I don't know if you remember back to 3 hours ago when I started this presentation, I said that engaging service was a pillar for us, that it made us different, right? And what they said to us is, no, engaging service is table stakes. That just gets you into the game. We expect that you're going to provide great service. You got to take it up a notch in order to make it differentiating for you. And then they do like the delightful surprises. So this woman told us an interesting story. She said, and they don't have to be big surprises. And she said, one day I came into my hotel room and the slippers were on one side of my bed. So I would sleep that night. I sleep on the other side of the bed, so it just so happens. And then, I went off to work without thinking about it, and I never used the slippers. So then the next day she came back, and they had done the turn-down service, and now the slippers were on the other side of the bed, were on the side that she slept on. And she just thought that was so amazing that they thought about where she was sleeping and put the slippers over there. And it's a nothing event, right? But it was meaningful to her, and it was a memory that she had thought about so much that she related it back to us when we were doing this research. And that's that idea of genuine care and concern, that you're really thinking about the guest and how they're looking at their experience. And then also that when they're on business travel, when they have a little bit of time, they want to be able to experience the destination, and they want it to make it meaningful. And so the themes that we picked up on was that there's this idea of accidental memories, which typically come from when something bad happens, and how do we do a good job of making it right? Little thing memories like the slippers. The comfort memory, now this is a little bit more like that idea of going home, so that what we would really want to instill in our guests is if they're going to Los Angeles and they're going to stay at Miramar for the very first time, they already feel comforted by the fact that they know that they're going to have this particular type of experience with us that's differentiated, that's different for them and special for them. That our hotels, which this is a key thing for us, is a place where you get married, where you have your birthday, where you do different celebrations, and obviously that triggers really key, memorable moments for them that they take on through the rest of their life, and they want to go back to those places, right, and experience that again. And then travel is so awful nowadays that the hotel gets to be the hero at the end of it, right? You've gone through all the humiliation of what you have to go through checking in and customs and whatnot, and I know that everybody in Canada complains about Air Canada, but let me tell you, there's this airline called United. I hope none of you are here from United, but that takes it to another level. And then I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, this idea of the Zen memory, that it's a higher level that you aspire to in terms of experiences. And this is an interesting one. This is just us as an organization constantly telling you that you're having a good time until you believe it. So what came out of all that was that this is a powerful platform for us. It's something that we could build a strategy around that would be differentiating, that would be memorable to our guests, that would make us stand out. And what was interesting, I don't know if you noticed all the pictures and where we were when we did all of this research, but we didn't just interview people in North America. We interviewed people in Asia, we interviewed people in the Middle East, we interviewed people in Europe, and they all came away with the same feedback to us. And so our overall learning was essentially that this was something that we could build upon, that we could build programming around, and that there was a strong opportunity for someone, we want it to be Fairmont, but for someone to own this space. And it says the same thing. So that there are these territories that will be meaningful to our guests. That if they are well traveled, they'll have stories to tell to their friends and to their colleagues, etc., and their family. That when they're traveling, it will be an enriching experience, and they'll be able to learn and experience different aspects of other cultures, etc., if we can own that. That they will be the best version of themselves. I love that. That if we can get them to feel great about where they're staying and great about the hotel that they're staying in, that it actually literally makes them feel better about themselves. And how couldn't you connect that back to the hotel that you were staying in if the hotel could actually help you do that? and that it was just a way that they lived. It was a part of their life, and it was a special part of their life. The stories that they tell, the memories that they have, the hotel plays a part in that, regardless of what part of the world that they go to. And so, in the end, though, what we do, and I think this is really important, all of this informs us on what we have to do from an experience perspective and from a service perspective and from a training perspective, etc. That it's not, that the marketing comes later. You can't, in today's world, it's so transparent and it's so quick, you're so quick to get information. I mean, think about when Miley Cyrus twerked. I just came up with that. How quickly that got out on the internet, on social media sites, wherever. And it's the same thing with all of our brands, that as soon as you do something wrong, as soon as you misrepresent yourself, you can be placed on all of these websites. So the first thing about it, before we even start to market owning this space, we actually have to. And so we're about to go through our own journey of exploration and enrichment, and that we have to make this true about our brand before we go out and tell that story. And then that story, and this is what this quote's about, has to be on a one-to-one basis. It has to be meaningful to, it has to, as I said a little bit earlier, resonate with these target guests that we want to bring over to our brand. But if we can do those two things, then I think that we're going to be in good position on the go forward. Anyway, that's my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing with us this evening that research that your organization has done on creating experiences, because that really is what we are all here tonight about. Lastly, what is a celebration without a present? And I was wondering if Haley could come to the podium to help me make a draw for a dinner this weekend.
So this is me wearing my Stratus hat now. We have a dinner this Saturday, September 28th, right during the Grape and Wine Festival weekend. And we have Tribeca from Ottawa coming and doing a three-part dinner representing Play, Gezellig, and Becta with our three-part wine portfolio, our irreverent Wild Ass brand, Tollgate, and our top-tier Stratus. So should be a great evening, and we have 2 tickets to someone who can attend on Saturday. Okay. And people can run up if they didn't know about this and drop a business card in. Hold on, I have one here. No. Okay.
Just one more after that.
Perfect. I just met this gentleman today, Brock Dale from Porter. Here you go, Brock.
Can I do a speech?
Yeah, speech, please.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you. One last thing before we break for this evening. Our next site chapter day is Education Day in November, and so we hope to see many of you there. And we also like to thank you all for coming and celebrating this very special site chapter meeting with us, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.